Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to create my signaling server. To do that, I've created an empty project. So let's start with npm init. You can just press enter, enter. That's a big deal. Yes. So the npm will create you the package JSON. The libraries that I'm going to use are Nodejs and WebSocket. So I'll write the dependencies and write npm install. After that, we are ready to go. So I'll create my index.js and then I'll write a script called start, and its value is going to be node1 index.js. So whenever we start this, after we do each change on this class, the code will get restarted. Okay, let's start with creating an HTTP server. To do that, I'll create an HTTP object and then I'll create my socket using WebSocket. And after that, I'll create my server like this. And then start my server using listen function. I'll pass port 3000 to it. As host name, I'll just pass empty. So my server is running now, and now I have to create a WebSocket. To that, I'll create a const named WebSocket. The value is equal to new socket. And as the config, I'll pass HTTP server and give server to it. After that, we are ready to start our WebSocket. So I'll write on request and get request as a parameter and get connection using request.accepts. So now we are ready to test our WebSocket server using log connection. I'll save and go to my Google Chrome, and using this plugin Simple WebSockets, I'll try to test my WebSocket clients. Write localhost for 3000 and press open. And now you'll see that our client is connected to our WebSocket server. So now we're ready to go. So first I want to create a list of users. It's going to be an array, and then I'll create a JSON object called types to see what types of events are going or receiving to WebSocket server. So I'll just copy and paste this. These are the types that we have to handle if we receive from a user, so we can forward it to another user. So after we accept each connection, I'll just move it down here. I'll set a listener called onMessage, and after each message shall get using this callback, I'll try to convert the message to a JSON object. So I'll write const data is equal to JSON dot parse the message dot utf 8 data. We have to wrap it inside a try catch block. So if it's not a valid JSON object, can call the user that your data type is invalid. So I'll move this down here. So if something happens, I'll just log this first and then tell the user send the connection function. I'll just pass the connection and the message, which is going to be types that wrong JSON. So I'll write this function here, right here. Constant to connection, which is going to get a connection and the message. To do that, I'll use the connection and send JSON.stringify message. Pretty simple. So all of our data that are going and coming back to our web server are going to be like this. It's going to have a username, something like this, and a target, which is going to be opponents that the event is going to receive to that guy, and the data that is going to be exchanged, and the type that is going to be one of these types. For example, location. So based on this, I'll have two users here. One of them is current user, which is going to be find using this function data.username, and the user to receive, which also is going to be found using this function that I'm going to write in a minute. So this function is going to be find user, which is going to have one argument. It's called username, sorry. Now create a for loop I is equal to 0, I less than users dot length and I plus plus. So I'll see if my user at index of I, that username is equal to the username that I'm getting through the function, then return the user at index of I. I'll clean this line. So right here I have two users, current user and user to receive. So I'll create a switch using data.type to handle each event type. The first type is going to be types.signin. Don't forget to break it. Okay, so if the user exists, if current user is valid, which means we can't sign in this user with the same username again. So we'll send data to its connection with the type of users exist and return. And if it's not, so we'll just push a new user to our users list. So the username is going to be data.username. The connection is going to be connection. Password is going to be data.data. And after that, we'll send to user that the sign-in was successful. Sign-in successful. The next case is going to be start watching. So in that case, we're going to notify the target user that you should start providing your video and audio. So to do that, first we check if user to receive is valid, and then their password, which is going to be data.data, is equal to user to receive dot password. So if password is correct, then we send to the target that start watching process. So send to connection user to receive dot connection. Type is going to be types dot start watching. The username is going to be current user dot username, and the target is going to be user to receive dot target. And after that, we will send another event to user that was sending the event. So connection, and the message is going to be type user found successfully. But if the user was not found, we'll send the sender that failed to find user. And also, if the password was wrong, we'll send to sender that the password is wrong. Wrong password. The next case is start locating. It's going to be pretty similar as the top one, but the event type is going to be start locating. The next case is offer. So in this case, we'll check if user to receive exists, then we'll send the data to user to receive. That's connection. The type is going to be types.offer. Username is going to be data.username, and the data is going to be data.data. The next case is types.answer, pretty much the same like the offer. So I'll just copy and paste. The next case is types.isCandidate. So again, we check if user to receive exists. So we'll send the target connection, and the data is going to be type candidate. Username is going to be data.username, and the inner data is going to be another JSON object, stp mline index is going to be data.data.stp mline index. stp mid is going to be data.data.stp mid. The stp candidate is going to be data candidate. So the next case is going to be types dot switch camera. Don't forget to break. So again, we check if user to receive exists. Then we send the command. The data is going to be type of types dot switch camera, and the username is going to be data dot username. And same thing for end call. Data type is going to be end call, and the last event type is going to be, actually it's pretty much like the end call, it's just location, and we change the type to location, and the data is going to be data.data. Okay, so the event types are handled, but before I forget, after each user gets disconnected, it closes its connection, so we have to remove him from our user list. So in that case, I'll check its connection to see if the user that is disconnected right now is the same, exists in my user list, so I can remove him. So I'll search inside my users, and I'll check if user that's connection is the same as the connection that was disconnected. Then I'll just remove using splice function index of user and delete one item from my users. So that's pretty much it. It makes more sense when we start working with Android application. Don't worry, nothing big is here. We're just transforming data between the username that is sending the request and the target that is going to receive the request. So I'll see you on the next video. Till then, see ya.